here. So remember a couple weeks ago I asked you, did you do this part? The first two questions, which is asking what you deserve in life, right? What you want in life. Then the second question was, why do you deserve it, or why do you want it? I did that on Thursday night as well. Yeah. Well, now ask yourself this. For these things that you're wanting, ask yourself why you don't actually want that thing. It's really quiet. Because most of you are like, well, Tony, that doesn't make any sense. Of course I want that thing. Of course I want to be on a TV show. Of course I want love. Of course I want an agent. Of course I want millions of dollars. Of course I want to be in a house. Deep down, you guys, there are deeper reasons for not wanting something than wanting it. For sure. There's something you're getting in not getting what you want. There's something you're getting in not getting what you want. Part of it, you guys, is we have unwritten agreements with ourselves. We have created them from when we were, generally from when we were little kids. It's an unwritten agreement that at the time was put into place to serve you, keep you protected, keep you safe. It was a defense mechanism, and it was needed. But as you've evolved and moved through life and grown up, you no longer need that thing. But that thing is unconsciously still doing its thing to protect you, to keep you stuck, to keep you safe. So it becomes your inner saboteur. So for sure, consciously you desire these things because the desire for them is connected to the deeper part of who you are. The spirit of part of who you are wants all those things. And you've heard me talk about the real reason why you want them is because not for the materialistic reason, although those things are fun, but really is because you're wanting to be creating, connecting to the core of who we are as creators. But we've got to identify what are the unwritten agreements that you have that keep you from not having it. You guys, one way of looking at it is maybe, let's say, you keep talking about wanting a boyfriend, or you keep talking about wanting an agent, right? But maybe as you start to do this homework, you'll begin to realize, oh, for sure you do, but then there is a thought that is connected to the agreement that you have that keeps you from getting that thing. By making up things like this. Maybe you use it as an excuse to not get the other things you want in your life. Maybe you get sympathy and support in your current condition talking about what's not working. Maybe you have to give up blaming someone else for the stuff that isn't working. So wherever there is blame, anger, feeling sorry for yourself, that's a big one. That's one I struggle with. Avoiding the truth and holding on to the past, you have a hidden agreement. And you know, there's nothing wrong with the past, you guys. The past has made you who you are. It's awesome. It's built this amazing neural pathway that connects you emotionally to who you are, that makes you different than everybody else. But what I think is interesting is it's you who needs to change, not your past. It's you who needs to change, not your past. You've just got to have a new relationship with an agreement you formed in the past to create what you're wanting now. So here's going to be the homework. I want you to just, you know, somebody already did it and texted me today from last night's class, and he was like, oh my gosh, he had an opportunity with an agent, and he came up with, last night, we all went out for dinner afterwards, and he wasn't going to take the meeting, and for all these reasons, and I just said, okay, we'll do whatever you want to do. And then today he texted me, and he's like, oh my God, I took the meeting, because I realized all the reasons why I didn't want to do it were these things that you're talking about. Is of course he wants an agent, but then he's coming up with all the reasons why he doesn't really want to go take that meeting. That's because he's aligning with that unwritten agreement. So you're going to have to figure out what those things are. So, just not tonight, just this break, because I'd like to come back in the new year and start with this, is I just want you to think of one of the thoughts that you often think about yourself. Like, you know, we have many, but one of them that holds a particular amount of saboteur power in your life. So you're going to figure out what that thought is. And they're going to have to work backwards. Where did that thought get put into place? Where? And then I think you have to figure out what is the agreement that's been put into place by having that thought. So for example, if you hear yourself saying, I'm not going to make it, or I'm too old, or I'm too fat, or I'm not attractive enough, or I can't get an agent, or the business is too hard, you're going to have to work backwards and see what puts that in place. Because that's what's keeping you from getting those things that you're wanting. It sounds so simple, but these things are very They're tricky. Because the unwritten agreement that you have could have come from an experience you've had, an event. It could have come from a parent. It could have come from a sibling. It doesn't really matter where. And so the last part of the homework is you're going to identify where that has come from. And you're going to write 2 letters. One to yourself. Because no matter what, let's say you have something, a parent told you something that you've been storing in your head for a long time, even though maybe you've gone to therapy and maybe you've worked through it and maybe you have forgiven them. But for some reason, there is an errant thought that keeps that's preconditioned, and you keep pulling on that thought that keeps you stuck. So for sure, that occurred from somebody, but your unwritten agreement is with a part of yourself. So you're going to write a letter to yourself breaking that agreement, thanking yourself for that agreement. It served its purpose. It did. And then you're going to write a letter to the other person who maybe helped initiate that, if for sure enough it came from somebody. Okay? Same thing, thanking them for it, expressing whatever you need to express, and forgiving them ultimately, and forgiving yourself for having it. You don't have to send the mail. You don't have to send the letter. Right? You can if you want to. But you have to write it. It's not enough to think about it. You know, yesterday, and I'm almost done here, yesterday when I was driving to teach class, I was just thinking about this myself, and I was like, oh God, something really flashed in my mind for myself of something that connects me to an unwritten agreement that I have with myself about what's not possible. And even though I've been aware of it for a long time, I'm not really ever just sort of broken the hold on it for myself. So I'm going to do that. It's not enough to just do it here. Write it. There's power in writing, and there's power in the act. There's power in the act, people. So I want you to do that for yourself. Does that make sense to everybody? That's really powerful. Ryan, you arched an eyebrow. Does that make sense? Yes. Yeah. It's amazing that we have these desires, and it's amazing that I'll just say it again, there's something you're getting in not getting what you want. But I do think I want you to do a little bit of mental inventory. Recognition and recovery, investigation and elimination. Recognition and recovery, investigation and elimination. I want you to investigate this hidden agreement that you have. Eliminate it. You can eliminate it. It is not serving you. Of course you don't want it anymore.